Are you ready for a rewarding career in the electrical industry? Quality Electric of the Coastal Carolinas, QECC, is looking for qualified electricians and electrical helpers to join its Charleston team. QECC offers guaranteed full-time hours, make up to $30 per hour with possible performance bonuses and career growth opportunities. Enjoy benefits like health insurance, dental and vision coverage, 401k plans, and more. If you're a motivated, experienced electrician, this job is for you. QECC is an equal opportunity employer. For all job inquiries, send email to hr@qeccinc.com.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You know those times when you get invited to a party as a guest?
I literally sat right across from Steven Tyler and I just asked him every question I could ever imagine about everything.
We're walking with Michael Jackson.
And you have no idea what you're in for.
I was not thinking about, doing the funky Cole Medina with Home Rope.
This is a podcast about just that.
They're going to arrest us for being on mushrooms at a wizard park. We're in trouble.
This is Plus One Stories.
All right, we are back with another episode of Plus One Stories. What's going on? My name is Chris Donovan, and today I have a really cool guest for you. Her name is Corey Dillon. Now, Corey and I met back in Jamaica with the first time, and the second time we met in Atlanta, all this during radio stuff. We're both in the industry. She currently does a morning show down in San Diego, and we caught up about this one time where she was a guest of her father, and they were in Hawaii, and she runs into her teen heartthrob, Mr. Bryan Adams. Yes. Everything I do for you, person, guy, man, singer. Without giving too much away, she runs into him and his braless girlfriend. She remembered that very vividly. But I'm going to stop there. So enjoy this conversation I have with Corey about how she was stalking Bryan Adams. And if you love this podcast, please do me a favor. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend. Tell them about it. I really appreciate it. Okay, enjoy. Corey Dillon. Oh my God, I saw you a couple weeks ago, but I'm so happy to get you on my show now, Plus One Stories. How are you?
I know. Now I'm like seeing you all the time at Disney in Carlsbad, California, where we met, what was it? At least 6 years ago.
Yes.
Probably 7 years ago in Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah. And then the only time after that was Atlanta at Morning Show Boot Camp. And then
it was Atlanta, not Chicago?
No, that was Atlanta the first time we ran into each other.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's the only time I think I went to it, when it was in Atlanta. And, Little did I know one day I'd live there.
Yeah, right. But
I know.
We also, I ran into you at Disneyland once, just randomly, because it was like a media thing. And then Evelyn was doing something else. She wasn't even there. So that was quite fun.
I know, but it's so random too, just because I was like, you might be able to work at Disney, because when they were still requiring masks, even outside, how you spotted me. I can't remember if we did have masks on or something like that at that point, but it was so crazy that you could spot me in that crowd.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't that far away, but I think you took your mask off to take a drink or something. And that's why I caught my attention or something, because we were by a bar, but we were by the winery anyway.
Right.
Yes. It was pretty crazy. My kids, they hung out with you in Carlsbad and there. So that was cool. So, but we know each other from radio, the world of radio that we work and live in. And this is Plus One Stories, but this story is pre-radio. Now, I'm not going to go give anything too far away, but I'm going to say you were on vacation in Hawaii with your family.
I was.
Okay.
I was like 13 or 15. It was actually a conference that my dad was attending, and the youngest of my 6 siblings, including me, got to go. So there were 3 kids and my parents. The older 3 had to stay home, and they still begrudge us that Hawaiian vacation.
Was it a Magnum PI conference or what?
No, nothing like that. My dad worked for the Fire Sprinkler Advisory Board for many, many, many years.
Well, they picked the right place to have a conference, that's for sure.
Yes, I know. Back in the day, right, when conferences were like, they'd no expense spared in Hawaii and Vegas and all these other places, New York City. But, I don't know if that happens anymore or if it's coming back, hopefully. But so we were on vacation and we were staying in Kaanapali.
I love that place.
Yeah, we were at a really nice hotel, but I remember we went next door for dinner. And of course, even if we had a reservation, I remember we had to wait. And
Yep.
being 13-year-olds or whatever, we're bored. And, my siblings were younger than me. And so I was like 13 to 15.
Okay.
And we decided to wander around the hotel. And we wandered into, I think it was a shoe store. And I walked by this guy who was sitting, like, the thinker Rodin, that
The
sculpture.
statue?
He's got
Yeah.
his, like, he's sitting, he's got his hand kind of on his chin, on his, hand or whatever. And I walked by this guy and I'm like, oh my God. I didn't say anything, but I was freaking out inside because I swear to God, this is dating me, cassette tape that I brought for my Sony Walkman was Bryan Adams' Reckless, like his masterpiece, right? I couldn't believe it. And I was like, I'd never seen a celebrity that I could conjure up. I'd never been to a concert before. I had never seen a celebrity in person before.
It's like seeing
But
a ghost almost.
I knew, yes, this was Bryan Adams. And I freaked out. He was there with his girlfriend. I still don't think to this day he's ever been married. He was there with his girlfriend and they were shopping and I think they were staying in this hotel. This is a very nice hotel, right?
Yes.
And so of course I was freaking out after they left the store. And the manager, whoever was there, was like, here's a piece of paper. Go ask him for his autograph. But I just could never. I would never. I don't know if I've really ever gotten anyone's autograph, to be honest with you. But
Not
of
even
course, we had
Mickey
to follow
Mouse.
him around. Yeah. I mean, no, I don't even think I've gotten Mickey's signature, to be honest with you, his autograph.
So
But
you stalk him instead of getting an autograph. Okay.
Of course. I mean, that's the normal thing to do, right? As a 15-year-old. So we decided to follow him around and they went into a t-shirt shop. And at this point, I think he was on to us, He was on to us. And I do remember at some point making that knowing eye contact. I think it said, I love you too, but there were no words spoken. But he looks at me and smiles and whatever. And I'm pretending to shop like, no, I'm really here for serious business. I've got $20 for a t-shirt. And his girlfriend was like right next to me and she leaned over and I was like, oh, she's not wearing a bra. And
oh my God.
So whoever his girlfriend was back in I guess that would be the 80s.
That was before the summer of 69, right?
No, I think Reckless.
After?
I think summer of 69 was on Reckless. I'm going to have to, while we're talking, do a little Googling.
Yeah, I know that that was a very big album, but I didn't know if it had Summer 69 on it. Yes, it does. It does have Summer.
It does, yeah. Okay, wow, you
that's
found
a
it before
huge
me.
one.
Oh my God, yeah. It was, yeah, Heaven, Somebody, Run to You, One Night Love Affair, It's Only Love. Excellent songs from 1985, which is a really big year for 80s music,
Now,
I think the biggest hits came out that year.
yes.
As somebody who plays a lot of 80s music again in my career.
Yeah, which is on what station again? Tell me quick.
It's 100.7 Big FM in San Diego, California.
Nice. Now, you were on vacation with your dad in Hawaii. Where were you living at the time?
In the Seattle area.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we
you're
were
from Seattle?
in the Seattle area. Yeah, I've lived here. My family's lived here for over 45 years. My parents are like the only people I know that have ever paid off a house. And we moved in the day that Elvis died. So I'm told. That was a big deal, I guess. I think it was in 1977 or 78. It was August because we were always moving, or it was somebody's birthday, or my birthday is August 3rd, right? But it's always somebody's wedding, bridal shower, baby shower. We're moving. My birthday has always kind of been an afterthought, but
Well, are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle child, if you can be the middle child of 6. So, but there's a 6-year age gap between my next oldest sister and myself. Yeah. And so I'm kind of the oldest of the youngest set, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
But but being a Leo, I definitely have some of those middle child tendencies. Like, look at me, I need attention.
Well, following Bryan Adams around while he shops with his girlfriend is kind of an attention seeking thing, I think. So
I was stalking before it was popular.
Right. Who was with you when you were stalking Bryan Adams?
Just my younger brother, Dan, and my younger sister, Maureen.
Did they know who he was, and were they as excited as you?
I don't know that they were as excited as me, but I mean, because they were, I think I was 15, and they were all like 15 months apart. So, like
13, 11.
I don't know, 11, 13, 15, something like that. So, I mean, not really, but they were, in tow. They followed me around. Well, we followed Bryan Adams and his girlfriend around, and then, sadly, I think they got tired of being followed, and and they got up in the elevator. And I never saw them on that vacation again, sadly.
Oh, okay. So what was the story like when you went back over to go eat with your dad?
Oh my, I don't even remember. It was my mom and my dad, but I mean, I'm sure they had to peel me off the ceiling. I was freaking out. I mean, what a cool experience. I mean, that's everything as a teenager, to see one of your favorite bands, artists, singers, whatever you want to call it, celebrities. I can't even believe to this day it happened. And years later, when I was at college at Washington State University, he came through town. He came through Pullman, Washington on tour. I don't remember what tour that would have been, but he was still popular because, of course, he had the, Everything I Do It For You with, what was it, Robin Hood?
Robin Hood was huge. And
Kevin.
that was late or early to mid 90s, because I graduated in 96, and that was probably 94, 95. It was huge.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, he was still a really big deal. I mean, I was done with college, I think, by 93 and a half. Let's put it that way. But he was great. And I remember, it was such a college town. I mean, so I don't remember how many people were in the arena, but I remember pushing my way to the front, and trying to hang in the mosh pit.
You?
Yeah. Do you remember me, Brian? It's me.
I was looking at your girlfriend without the bra on.
Right.
And then Canapoli t-shirt.
I know.
No? Okay.
I'm a stalker. I'm a perv. What are you gonna do?
Well, this is also
but that is
pre-internet.
That is all true.
Pre actually giving a crap as a kid. Pre Cartoon Network. You had to wake up Saturday morning to watch the cartoons. Like the access to celebrityism back then was not there.
Right.
Just randomly running into somebody like that. That's got to be like breathtaking when you're that young. That'd be so cool. Yeah.
And there's I was just gonna say there's another unverified, but I'm 100% sure in myself that it was Chris Connolly, because of course Chris Connolly Soundgarden was in Seattle. He was from Seattle, or the band, really kind of drew upon its fame, and during that grunge era and everything else, they were one of the biggest bands to ever come out of Seattle. And this one time I was driving down Alki Beach back in my youth. I used to produce a morning show in Seattle, the Robin and Maynard show at the world famous KZOK, the classic rock station.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go home, take a nap after producing the show, and then go up and go maybe for a run. And I decided to go over to Alki Beach. It's a great, flat strip of land. It's beautiful, scenic. You can see the whole city. And I was driving, through West Seattle, and I look over, and this guy is walking down the street. And I mean, Chris Cornell, right? Chris Cornell. I'm sorry.
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell. Yeah. He was coming at me or whatever towards me. And I mean, those eyes and that dark hair, it's like, there's no mistaking it, There's no mistaking it.
Was that a Soundgarden days, or was that the dog band he was in? I don't remember the name of the other one.
I think, that would have been in the early 90s. I don't think they had started the dog band.
Which would have been Temple of the Dog or whatever it was.
Temple of the Dog. Yes, exactly. But again, I mean, he was one of those guys that was just sort of so unique.
Yes.
I mean, Bryan Adams too. I mean, his sound is so unique.
It's funny that they're both musical people. I mean, I know you're a music person. You're in the radio industry.
Right.
That's the same thing that somewhat happened to me. Now, it wasn't as far back, but I had just moved to California, and it was 2001, 2002, right? Cell phones were still, flip phones, don't have pictures on them, can't do any of that garbage. You can text, you can get, that's about is where it was at. I went and saw a show at the Roxy with Puddle of Mud. I had a friend go with me.
Wow.
Out there. Great. Small venue. Last song, Smack My Ass song. Fred Durst comes out and sings his lyrics with him, because Fred Durst was the one that found Puddle of Mud. I was so stoked. He's right in front of me. That was so cool. I couldn't take pictures or anything. I went and I leave to go take a leak, and I'm standing in the hallway, and then everybody just kind of pushes everyone against the walls. And here he comes walking through the hallway. Shook his hand. Thanks, man. That was so cool. And he walked away. And
Before or after you went to the bathroom and washed your hands, Chris?
Oh, I washed my hands. I always wash my hands. So it was after I went to the restroom.
Thank the Lord.
No doubt, because who knows what's on his hands, honestly.
Right? Right? I can't speak to whether or not he would wash his hands, but
All right.
Fred Durst, yeah.
Let me do a little recap. That's what I kind of do each show, is that Corey was the 13 to 15-year-old young lady she was with her dad at a conference, which I'm going to call the Magnum PI conference in Hawaii.
And mom and dad. They've been married 60 years.
The whole family.
Mom was there.
Well, the younger kids were there.
Yes, yeah.
But you got to go to Maui. I mean, I didn't get to go into Maui until I was 30 when I got married. So
right.
You got to go to Maui at 13. That's pretty dope.
I know. And I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, hell yeah. And you got to get all the food you wanted, and you got this awesome room.
Like, room service is incredible. Let me tell you, I love it still to this day. Oh, well, yeah.
Where you go.
Yeah.
So you're on a vacation with the parents or conference. You're waiting to have dinner, and of course, you being the ADD kids that most of us are, you go for a little walk. Your little brother and sister follow you, and you run right into Bryan Adams.
Yeah, basically.
And
I mean, I do wish I had worked up the nerve to talk to him.
Yes.
And that sort of haunted me years later, because I was at George Steinbrenner's final spring training game. You're conjuring up all these memories that I have. I was at George Steinbrenner's final Yankees spring training game that he was at. And I took my neighbor, John, who is a native New Yorker, and he had never been to a spring training game despite living in Florida for 20 something years, 25, 30 years.
Jeez.
He had never been to a spring training game at Yankee Stadium, which is now Steinbrenner Field. And we get there, and I'd bought the tickets, they're like $20 a piece, whatever. And originally I thought they were good seats, but when I get there, we're like in the rafters, right? Because it is what it is. There are smaller venues, and that's fine. Because we were like literally two rows in front of the suites.
Oh,
which, whatever. We were kind of back behind home plate, but way back behind home plate. And so at some point early on, really early, I don't even think the game had started. We're just getting settled in. We've got our hot dogs and beer, whatever. And some guy is down in the aisle going, George, have a great season, George. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, text your buddy. Don't make a scene. Like, just text your buddy to say hi. So I'm annoyed. And then I look behind me, and it was George Steinbrenner. I mean, he was in a wheelchair. He was with his two granddaughters
in the suite,
who he had in the suite, in front of the suite. Like, there was an outdoor area of the suite.
Yeah.
So they had taken him out in a wheelchair. And, and then you're going to have to help me with some of the names. Oh gosh. Who is like the totally famous coach from Notre Dame, and his son is a coach now too. We'll come up with these names. It was, and then
I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to go baseball. I was going to say
Lou. No, Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz. Okay, is that's the name?
Okay. Yeah, Lou Holtz walks out. Who is Mr. October? Jesse. I want to say Jackson. I want to say Jackson, but I don't know if that's right. Let's see. Who is Mr. October? Hey Siri, who is Mr. October? I know she's gonna know. Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. Yeah, Reggie Jackson.
Yes. So Reggie Jackson walks out. A host of current players that were mega stars in baseball obviously walked out to sort of pay their respects to George Steinbrenner. It was really incredible. And I mean, there was a line of people coming up the aisle, everyone trying to take pictures. I got one picture.
Wow.
And I remember hearing behind me, in the one row behind me, this kid who was like 7 or 8. Actually, there were 2 rows behind me. I remember that because there were a couple of rows behind me. And this kid was like talking to his dad, and his dad was like, no, ask him for an autograph. There was all these celebrities up there, big time baseball legends behind us. And he was like, oh, I couldn't do it. I turned around, I said, kid, if you don't do this, you're going to be a 45-year-old guy with regrets. If you don't even at least ask. And he did ask, this little kid, I don't know if it was his birthday or whatever, but George, he wasn't signing any autographs, understandably, but at least he asked.
Did you go to him and tell him the whole Bryan Adams story and how you're so disappointed with yourself?
No, I didn't. I might have wet myself, but
Well, instead of actually getting Bryan Adams' autograph, you just decided to stalk him, which is a better story. I mean, altogether, it's a better story.
I mean, right? He looked at me. We had eye contact.
You know what? I have you ever had a chance to meet him since?
No, because I think he's been living in the UK, and he's actually just put out his 15th album, like a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. And he's touring the UK, and then he's going to go back to his native Canada. And I know he's really been working as a photographer in the last several years.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I did not know that. Are you going to go to his concert if he comes close to you?
Yes. Hell yeah. I will go. And maybe I will get backstage.
You get backstage, you have to bring it up. You have to, because he's going to be like, you were that little girl following me around?
Yeah, I don't know.
Staring at my girlfriend.
You wonder how many. I mean, he had to have had a billion episodes like that. You know what I mean? A billion.
Yeah. No, we had one like that with one of the twins from Good Charlotte. We weren't sure which one. We think it was Nicole Richie's husband, but we were at Disneyland and we recognized him. And I made the eye contact with him like you did with, like, oh, they know who I am. So that's when he kind of turned this way and put his AirPod back in, but nobody else recognized him except for me and Evelyn. So it was like, and then we saw him later in the day, and it was just like, hey, it was like, hey, we still know who you are.
Yeah.
We didn't bother him. We didn't walk up and get autographs or anything. I didn't need one, but
it's funny. I knew they were brothers, but for some reason I didn't know they were twins. I mean, I just thought they looked a lot alike.
Yeah, it's I don't know why I can't think of their names right now.
Benji and
Joel Madden.
Joel Madden. There you go. Yeah.
So okay. I will have to call my lawyers to find out if I'm allowed to release the show without Bryan Adams' approval, because you did stalk him back in the late 80s.
It's true. It's true. Allegedly.
Yeah, no, nothing's on camera because cameras weren't as accessible back then.
Well, that's probably true.
So
that's probably true.
Corey, again, you said earlier, where can people get a hold of you? What's your social media handles? Where can they find you and annoy you?
On Instagram, it's Corey Dillon 1, CoreyDylan, like Bob Dylan. Corey Dillon 1, and of course on Facebook, just Corey Dillon.
And you're on what radio station?
I am on 100.7 Big FM San Diego.
If they're not in San Diego, what is it? What's the app?
Well, that is the app actually. Big FM San Diego.
There you go. You don't have to download some third-party app. You just get it straight from the source.
Yeah.
And you play Bryan Adams to this day?
Occasionally, yeah. We change up the music. Our format is variety hits, and that means we play anything, and that's what we say.
I Do For You is the biggest song in the 1980s, so I'm pretty sure that's probably played a few times.
It was a big one. Yeah, it was a big one.
You cried.
So we play Heaven more often than not, but Heaven was the first dance I slow danced to with a boy. He was really sweaty. Wow. It's not a good memory. It's not a good
Bryan
memory.
Adams are connected.
I know, right?
You should really try to stalk him now. This will be a better story in like 10 years.
I mean, maybe now he'll hit this. I'm not illegal.
Oh, there you go.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I hope you run into him.
I tease. I know, right? I do have a lot of stories that somehow we are connected. It's weird.
It is. It's one of those things, and we'll find out how in the next couple years. I bet you'll run.
Yeah. I hope so.
Maybe you'll be his first wife.
Maybe. Or his last. You always want to be somebody's last wife, right?
That's right. Because then you're on their will. All right, Corey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, I'll have you on again sometime soon, because I'm sure now you're going to dredge up some more memories.
Yeah, I know. Now they just keep coming.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
You've survived another story. Thanks for listening, and please let us know what you think about the show by leaving a rating and review. If you have a story or want to connect with Chris, go to thisisfunner.com.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.